Hello, welcome back to another day in the arena in the adventures of young CGB. And what are we up to today? Let's get a look around. So today, we got some quests. Attack with 30 creatures, cast 20 white or black spells, and play 20 land cards. My objectives for the day are to complete the quests and then do our weekly crafting session where we buy some packs and upgrade our collection with some good cards. So hope to have a good show for you today. I think the quickest way to achieve our quests would be with an aggressive black-white deck. Unfortunately, we haven't opened the black-white, like, whatever you want to call these, the pre-construct decks. We haven't seen those yet, so I had to build it, and I made it black-white cards I own. So this deck is kind of a mid-range deck. It's an interesting, I think, mix of removal and creatures to get our attacking quest but not die. So we've got some Duress because control decks, Fatal Push is in there. We've got an interesting removal suite with 2 Fatal Push, a Cast Down, as well as 2 Thopter Arrest and a Murder, and we got a Ravenous Chupacabra, so we got a good amount of removal, plus we have the ever-present in our starter deck lists, Walking Ballista. Have you picked up that I think that card's really good for this collection, for this starter collection? Yeah, it is. I am confident in that. All right. Then we've got our creatures that do our attacking. So we have plenty of 2-drops. We have 4 Scroungers, 4 Siphoners, 2 Aetherborn, and a Knight of Malice, all to start our pressure early. We follow them up with a Kambal, the Consul of Allocation, a Isareth the Awakener. So few fun little legendaries to come out and play. Then we've also got the 4-count Aethersphere Harvester. We have the little energy sub-theme as usual with Glint-Sleeve Siphoners and Aether Hubs to fix our mana, making the Harvester really good for us here, better than the Heart of Kirin might be. Then we've also got the cats. The cats show up late. We don't have the little kitties. We're nothing but big kitties, all right? Yes, we also have a dog, a Ravenous Chupacabra. Cats and dogs living together. In Gonti's house, mass hysteria. But Leonin Warleader and 4 Regal Caracals. We remember we got these from the Brewer's Delight event. So this may be something that you're not able to play along with as much with the 4 Regal Caracals, but there are other white and black mythics and rares. So if we go to the 5-drop slot and we look up mythic and rare, this is how I suggest kind of handling anything. Anytime that you would like to play along with me but don't have the card, you can do something like this. We'll set those filters. Everybody gets an Angel of Invention. That can slot in perfectly well. Cataclysmic Gearhulk's interesting. I don't know if it's quite right for the deck, but it's definitely a card worth playing with. It's pretty strong. Bone Dragon you may have by now if you're playing along in the Under Control deck. That can make the cut. So there's a few ways to replace the Regal Caracals. And in artifacts, of course, everybody gets a Sky Sovereign Consul flagship. That can definitely take a spot. One of the most common questions I get is, I don't have this, what do I put in? I know that I will not have a matching collection to everybody else, especially the longer we do this series. So right now, you're all going to have to accept that we're not going to have collections that perfectly overlap. So you should look at your collection. You should sort of take the process like I just showed you. So if it's a 5-drop, creature, go ahead and highlight the 5-drops, and the mythics and the rares are usually the strongest cards, and highlight the colors you want, and go check them out. Look around at the cards and see what kind of does the same thing. If it's a threat, look for another threat, especially one that's hard to deal with as possible. All right. So look for a good threat at the same mana cost. If it's an answer, if it's like a removal spell, well, go ahead and, like, let's say it's a 3-mana remove. Let's say it's a Vraska's Contempt. Let's say I craft Vraska's Contempt, you don't. So if we wanted a Vraska's Contempt type card, we would probably want to look in the mana space around it, because a lot of what makes removal good is the casting cost. And usually if something's good, it's at its best in that casting cost. Also, we probably don't want to only look at rares and mythics when we're looking at removal. Let's add uncommons as well. Common removal is generally not good, although there are exceptions to every rule. You should learn what those are for yourself. You should look through all the cards. I'm giving you just an idea of what to look at, not exactly what to play. But if you hang with it and kind of absorb the process more than the deck list, you can become a better deck builder. So yeah, if you were replacing a Vraska's Contempt, we'd look around and we'd say, well, we have Skywhaler's Shot, we have Essence Extraction, which kind of mimics the life gain, we have multiple murders, things like that. So I hope that's just a little demo of things you can do to try to keep up with the decks that I'm building, even if you don't have the exact card pool that I have. Anyway, just trying to help out. I get that question all day in comments and all day in Discord. I don't have such and such, what do I do? Well, you find a replacement. That's what you do. That's the answer. I can't tell you exactly what to use. I don't know exactly what's in your card pool. If you've opened some packs and won some cards by now, you might have some things much better than I would recommend out of the starting card pool. All right, so we got this little deck. What are we going to do with it? I found quick play to be absurdly competitive lately. Like, in quick play is where I'm seeing absolutely the most busted decks all day. I don't get paired against anything that even resembles like a starter set, and that's okay. I don't always need to, but I still feel like okay, let's get back to original goals. You gotta have goals every day, right? Our goal is the quests, which means if we win, we win. That's great, little bonus. And if we lose, at least we're working on all the quests that we can be working on at the same time. All right, let's do this. Regardless of how competitive it's been. Yeah, something about the patch, maybe a matchmaking algorithm tweak. I've been paired against only the red and only the Esper Control and only the Turbofog. And I'm not saying this from exactly a place of bias. I do keep notes. Notebook over here. I do actually see my numbers. All right, I see what my matchups were. All right, Cinder Barons. Let's lead on the Swamp. We've got the turn 2 Siphoner and Hub mega combos, but is our opponent Mr. Chain Whirls? I think our opponent's Mr. Chain Whirls. That means we don't play our turn 2 Siphoner, which is meh. Whatever we play is likely to die based on that pause. It often means our opponent has an instant speed effect like a shock or a lightning strike. So we play the creature we most want to die. Scrapheap Scrounger. Our opponent doesn't kill it. Interesting. If Near Deadlands doesn't play a Chain Whirler, but it could be a bluff. Doomfall. Alright. They exile our Scrounger with a Doomfall. That's fine. Life goes on. Play another Hub. Let's play the Harvester. That can't be exiled by a Doomfall. Not unless we activate it on their turn. Harvester is... Vehicles in general, one of their great strengths is you decide when it's a creature, which means your opponent's removal spells are tricky to use. Okay, so for my next trick, I'm still trying to bleed out their removal to make my Siphoners better. If they have a Murder here or an Unlicensed Disintegration, they can take down the Harvester, but that's again one less removal spell. And yeah, maybe we can get them to use another removal on the Knight. We could just not crew and not attack, but since we actually want their removal gone, and especially if they have an Unlicensed Disintegration, they don't have an artifact in play. Without their artifact, it doesn't deal an extra 3 damage to us. So if they're going to play it someday anyway, we'll make them play it now. Okay, they don't play it. That's something. Maybe they'll shoot the Knight? Okay, they've got a shock. Makes sense. So you see we're just slowly playing out our Siphoners. These are the highest value because they can draw extra cards. Drawing cards is a very important part of Magic, especially if you're an aggro deck with the ability to draw cards. It's hard for an opposing deck to keep up with you. That's why Glint-Sleeve is so valuable to us. Looks like our opponent's on a black-red control-ish build. So let's try to keep pressure on them. They are stuck on 3 lands, so are we. So we just want to make sure we're deploying threats, and if we're getting damage through every turn, just as good. Another Siphoner. So this puts pressure on the opponent to deal with the Harvester, or they're taking 3 damage a turn. This puts pressure on the opponent to deal with the Siphoner, or we're drawing extra cards a turn. Alright. Get him. Again, I'm not going to use my energy for lifelink right now. My life total is not under any pressure. As long as I'm at 20 and I have something else to do with my energy, like draw cards with Siphoners, I don't use the lifelink. Some people use the lifelink all the time. There are certainly decks where Harvester is in it and the only use for the energy is the lifelink. In that case, there's rarely a reason not to. But in this deck, we draw cards with our energy. So it's good to hang on to. Alright, Gonti's Machinations is an interesting card. Whenever they lose life for the first time each turn, they get an energy, and they can pay that energy, but they have to sacrifice the Machinations, and they deal 3 damage. I lose 3 life, and they gain 3 life. It's a very wacky card. If you read it and decide I'm just not going to attack my opponent because I don't want them to have energy, that's often the wrong way to deal with it. Banefire for 1. They only had 2 mana. Very sad Banefire. It's going to deal with one of our Siphoners. We'll bring out another. We are drawing the top end of the deck without drawing the land. It's okay, we're both stuck. As long as we're both stuck. It won't last too long because of Treasure Map. Here comes the Machinations. They gain an energy. Field of Ruin. I don't suppose you'd like to blow up an Aether Hub, would you? That would be really nice for me. This is the removal suite that never ends over here from our opponent. And the turns that never end. Come on, pal. It would be nice to draw a Thopter Arrest to take out Treasure Map. It will get a pretty big mana advantage as soon as they flip it. But it doesn't seem like I am quite able to do that. Okay, so, yep. Perhaps 3rd time's a charm. But perhaps our opponent only runs removal spells. Eventually we'll draw another land, right? Right? Won't that happen someday? And swing and a hit. There we go. More energy from the Machinations. And more scries from Treasure Maps. This one to the bottom, so perhaps we're digging for removal now? Our opponent does have a dead lands, which they could use after, but they'd have to blow a lot of treasures to make that work. Not to mention them giving up a land. I wouldn't be that unhappy with the state things are in. But it looks like something else. Yep. And we continue to wait. And wait. And wait. I don't know if this is really Captain Apathy here. I'm not feeling the apathy. Alright, we drew a land. That's something. We'll hide that for a second. Hold on, let me make sure I tap right. Anytime that you're casting your Ballista and you change your mind about the way you're doing something, just select it for more than you can afford, and you can then cancel the casting of the Ballista. It's amazing how often I do that. I just wanted to leave a black up, maybe make my opponent think I had a Fatal Push. I'm saving the land. I'm going to play it second main phase in case it affects my opponent's decision for any reason. I'm also still saving my energy. I'm not that worried about the damage I'm taking or anything like that. Actually, with 7 energy, see, I can use these for white mana, but now that I've drawn a white source, I only need at most 3. So yeah, I will use it now. I will use it now. Especially while I'm sure it's going to hit. It might make a difference later. Alright, they're down to 5. It's all about trying to keep the pressure high enough to push through these last few points. Hopefully some of our big kitties can do it. Alright, they kept it on top. That's not good. Must be something to do with the Harvester. They gotta have something to deal with this. Okay, if they're leaving mana open, and it looks like they are leaving mana open here, then it's very likely to mean that they have a kill spell to remove the Harvester. So do we keep them casting their kill spells every turn? I think we do. So we'll play our white source, we'll play a Regal Caracal. It will crew up the Harvester, it'll go to its death. But we just want to keep that pressure high. Let's crew off this Caracal. Because this is the thing we'd least want to... This is the thing most likely to eat a removal spell besides the Harvester itself. Which makes it the best crew. Because then we still have untapped creatures in case there's a haste threat, but that's so corner case it's hardly worth thinking about. But here I am talking about it, because I just got these habits. I got habits. Been doing this too long. Yep. Now we're going to draw cards with treasures. Yep. Yeah, I imagine something bad will happen. Oh, cool. Our opponent needs to lightning strike it and probably use another burn spell. That's a good thing, because that's what they call 2-for-1. They have to spend 2 cards to deal with one of ours. And 2-for-1s in Magic are a big deal. The player who gets the most, usually in position to win the game. Not always, but usually. So Harvester finally down. Combat over. Opponent at 4, but remember they have these machinations. They can gain 3 life whenever they want to. So they're, we would say, effectively at 7. They're still on 3 cards in hand. So they might have a sweeper. If they have a sweeper, that's really annoying, but we follow it right up, make them have another, and then we follow it right up, we make them have another. Just try to exhaust those resources once and for all. Yeah, that is a sweeper. It's an interesting one because it means our opponent won't untap their lands next turn. We'll remove a counter from our Ballista and go straight to the Dome. Now our opponent's at 2, which means if we draw our other Walking Ballista, game over. Well, no, not game over again, the Machinations. And another Machinations. Okay, so our opponent's finding ways to gain life. Alright, let's play our Caracal. What else you got? I like the Caracal first because if our opponent has spot removal, like more lightning strikes, which they've had so much of it, you gotta think their whole deck is made of this stuff. If they have more spot removal, like lightning strikes, they'll use it here, and then the Warleader is less likely to get killed. But there is a case for playing the Warleader there, because then the Caracal the following turn can pump it and the cats it makes if everything goes according to plan. I'm anticipating that some of this stuff will die. That's really the judgment call. And it's harder to kill 3 bodies than 1. So our opponent's lands didn't untap because they play Bantu's Last Reckoning. It says lands you control don't untap. It's hard to tell how much it's going to mess with them. Green mana? What the heck? 2 green mana. What are we doing? Wildest Dreams, getting back Shock. So our opponent's splashing Wildest Dreams in their deck. And they're shocking 1 cat. Alright, they don't have another sweeper. We got him on the ropes now. That was a pretty desperate looking move. They have to sacrifice their machinations. It will put them all the way up to 8. This will drop them to 3. They're out of treasures. They don't have another sweeper. They would have played that. There's no way they would have spent Wildest Dreams getting back Shock. So I'm going to play this, and we're going to cross our fingers. And as Samuel L. Jackson in Jurassic Park would say, hold on to your butts. If we don't play this, our opponent can use Ifnir Deadlands to kill, like, one of our cats. Alright, now, they have died. We have fought through the removal tide and pulled out La Victorie. Alright. 250. Progress on quests. Keep it coming. That game took incredibly longer than expected. But hey, I've got to talk through my plays, my opponent. Who knows? Maybe they're making a video for new players as well, talking through their plays. That stuff takes time. Our opponent's going to open on Soulscar Mage. Welcome to the red deck. How are we against red? I mean, if they have their good draws, it doesn't matter. Red-blue. All right. Wizards, how are we against that? Depends if they can deal with this Harvester. I think that's where it's all going to depend on the Harvester. If I just play the Aetherborn, it will just get shot. Whatever I play here will just get shot. I think the best thing I can do is just take some damage, Harvester, take some more damage. How much damage will I take, though? If our opponent had an op, they would have played it, so probably not that. What if they double Lightning Bolt me next turn? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Let's see. So 9, let's see, so that would be 9, 10, 11, then the next turn, 12, 13, 14, and they would only need to find 5 more points of damage to win. At that point, my Harvester doesn't even do much. That's really frustrating. Alright, first creature is going to be bait then. Very likely to die. Understood. Understood is likely to die. On the draw, it's just, dude. So slow. Alright, it's not gonna die. That's the good news. I am definitely going to block this Soulscar Mage. It is a very threatening card. And I need to draw a land to kill that Cinderwind. We did it. We want to get that off the board right away. We could get Harvester down, but we'll likely take too much damage as a result of doing that. So we're going to grab this. We are definitely the defense. We are not the beatdown, as the old Magic slang would say. Who is the beatdown? We are not. We are the defense, which is why we trade our first creature and then we play a removal spell for the second creature. Champion of Wits. It is a creature that the Walking Ballista can trade with. That's a good thing. Alright, Fire Fist Adept, our opponent running full Wizard Tribal. There's an opt. They found one. The Lava Runner will get him for 1, but as long as it's just 1 damage, that's not so bad. But there we go. We drew another land. And I think the Ballista is the best play because no matter what our opponent tries to do to kill it, it can remove our opponent's creatures in turn. So reducing the amount of damage we take no matter what. Our opponent now up to 5 lands. Here's a Siren Storm Tamer. Okay, we can target that with a Ballista. Here's an Opt. Sure. It will make the Gift to Lava Runner a 2/2. This says sacrifice it to counter a spell or ability that targets a creature. So we have to kill this before we can kill anything else, but that's okay. Alright, we're going to set... You've seen me do this a few times in the series. I'm going to set a block on the Lava Runner, but what I'm actually going to do is remove a counter, kill the Siren Storm Tamer. Remove a counter, kill the Champion of Wits. What that does is it kills off 5 power, or it kills off 3 power worth of creatures while blocking the damage from another. So effectively we saved 2 life blocking and then killed all those critters. It's good stuff. It's the way you want to do it. Here's an Evolving Wilds. We have a Fatal Push. I think this is a great turn to play the Aethersphere Harvester and get it ready for action. The life gain from it can make the game almost unwinnable for the opponent. We're going to hold off on cracking our Evolving Wilds. When you sacrifice this, it triggers Revolt. Revolt lets you kill a creature with casting cost 4 or less instead of just 2 or less. If our opponent had another Adeliz, the Cinderwind, which has since been exiled, there it is, then that would be a great target for a Fatal Push. But our opponent doesn't seem to, so I'm just going to play this now. Right at the start of the attack step, before the attack happens. It saves a few clicks, like damage is a click that it saves. Sacrifice this, go get another white source. Another Fatal Push, huh? Cool. Alright, want to leave black open? We do. Gonti now comes down. We get to look at our opponent's top 4 cards. Pick a card, it's ours. Oh my goodness, all the lightning. Let's take a Lightning Strike. The Wizard's Lightnings, since we don't have Wizards, would be more expensive to use. Power up the Harvester. Let's start attacking, shall we? And before damage, before we click that damage button, we want to activate the lifelink ability so we gain life for our attack. This is definitely a matchup where the life is useful. Our opponent has 7 mana. They can bring back their Champion of Wits now. Eternalize means it comes back as a 4/4, and they get the ability again. So they get to draw 4 cards and discard 2. Which is a very good, when we talk about card advantage, it's a good way to do it. They discard a Supreme Will and a Soulscar Mage. Those are both good cards. So we should anticipate that our opponent will have a good turn coming up. I believe... So my instinct is to play Scrapheap Scrounger, Crew, attack, and leave this on defense. I'm also deciding whether or not to play the Gifted Aetherborn at all. Our opponent, like I said, is probably going to have a good turn and point lightning strikes at things. I would much rather they strike the Scrounger and the Gonti than the Aetherborn, so holding this back might make sense, but I think that's a touch too conservative. But since it can block, we can play it late, well, our opponent doesn't have really any decisions to make here. Since it can block, we'll leave it on defense here. And we'll send in Harvester and Gonti as Death Touch. If the opponent blocks it, it dies. And if the opponent kills the Aetherborn so they can attack with their champion, Fatal Push can take out the Champion of Wits that is eternalized. Okay, or Shaker Kenra. That will make the Gifted Aetherborn unable to block, and our opponent can attack now. But if this doesn't die, I don't really care. Alright. So this Eternalize says you exile it from and create a token. except it's a copy of this card, except it's black, and it has no mana cost. So right on it, it says that it's not the type of token with a mana cost, such as a God-Pharaoh's Gift token, so I can fatally push this. I want to do it in response to the Siren Stormtamer being cast, because right now the ability of the Stormtamer to sacrifice and counter my Fatal Push isn't available, so we want to do this right now. Our opponent may have a counter for it. Let's see. And they do have Wizard's Retort. Counter target spell, counters Fatal Push. Very sad, but if they have it, you gotta make them play it sometime. Our opponent will have a good attack, but we have a good lifelink. We got our lifelink and Death Touch creatures, so I think we'll be okay. All right, we drew the Walking Ballista. Just saving the Lightning Strike for the big surprise at the end. Our opponent doesn't know what we got with this Gonti, and they might even forget we did. Ooh, 2 counters. Brutal. All right. I think I'll just swing in over the top here with the Harvester. I don't want to put this Kenra in a graveyard and let my opponent eternalize it and get it back as a 4/4. And now that I know that they're out of cards in hand, they don't have a way right now to remove this Aetherborn or this Gonti. It keeps other cards from attacking. It keeps this 4/4 specifically, most likely, from attacking. And we'll gain some more life and take out that Stormtamer. Our position is alright. Our opponent, though, a few good draws could do it, but they're playing Champion of Wits with no cards in their hand, which means they're just going to discard the cards they draw. Not really the way you wanted to do it. Or they can choose not to draw at all, which is what happened. So right now, yeah, they're going to keep attacking with the Kenra. I don't want to block it. I don't want to give my opponent the 4/4. Taking damage is fine as long as we have some lifelink. But yeah, we're in an awkward place where we don't want to kill our opponent's creatures because of the eternalized value. So we want to do all of our damage in the air. Oops, not what I meant to do. I hit all attack. Never mind, I've changed my mind, everybody. We're just going to attack and destroy everything in sight. That's the new plan. Just when I start to relax. I guess I could save this for a Fatal Push, but then it wouldn't be available to draw another Walking Ballista. I guess both the Walking Ballistas are gone. We'll save it for a Fatal Push, potentially. Now I'm going to sharpen up a little. So our opponent discards Island and Stormtamer. Reasonable discards. We can expect that they have 3 spells in hand because they discard any land at this point. So we can expect they have 3 useful spells. We now have 2 useful spells. Alright. So now, with my opponent getting back the Earthshaker Kenra, they're at 9. We are at 23. I think I'm fine with starting to force my opponent to trade with my Scrapheap Scrounger. So what we're going to do is blow this up with the cast down, and we're going to start attacking with Scrounger, because while our opponent's ahead of us on cards, a way to sort of get cards back is to force them to block this Scrounger every turn. And if they had taken that damage, of course, we have lethal, so that's another reason to throw it out there. Alright, you have a Soulscar Mage. And right now, they have to spend a lot of mana bringing back this Scrounger if they wanted to get it. Or this Kenra. If they want to bring it back, it's a lot of mana. And they're not in a good position to attack with it. I'm gonna take it. Okay. So on end step, I am going to crack this Evolving Wilds, because if we draw like a Ravenous Chupacabra to go with this Lightning Strike, we can win the game. We might be able to do it without that, but that's just one of the things on my mind. And also on end step, we'll bring back our Scrapheap Scrounger as soon as our opponent gives us priority back. I don't think it matters what we exile. I guess it does, because we have an Isareth the Awakener that can get things back, but it can't really get back Walking Ballista, because Ballista would come back as a 0/0 and just die again, which isn't good. So we'll exile the Ballistas. We draw a Knight. Alright. Our opponent definitely has some kind of a Lightning Bolt or Counterspell or something available here. Not a Counterspell, I guess. Game face on. Let's see how many ways they have to mess with our attack. Supreme Will? That won't do it. I mean, I guess I need to hold off on this, right? Because we have a quest to attack, right? And if our opponent scoops before we attack, it doesn't make progress on our quest, so we have to play this funky. That's what I was doing earlier when I attacked with those Death Touchers. You guys, I was completing my quest. That's what I was doing. I wouldn't play y'all that way. I don't make no mistakes. I'm Super Ego Guy, the guy who never goofs up. I always had a reason, a really good reason. I thought about it. I'm very smart. Don't judge me. All right. Obviously, if I were on Twitch, I'd have a Kappa face. What do we get? What do we get? Pack.
You do not have to fight alone.
Oh, snap. Well, then. Aren't we jumping right in? You're going in the deck. You're getting in the deck, homie. I think it's just a lot better for a deck like this than a Gonti. Although I like my Gonti. Nah, it's just so much better. I hate it. I hate taking out the cards I really like. It's not fun for me. It's no good. Get in the deck, though. You're coming to play. Yeah, I guess Gonti. Ugh, I love you, Gonti. Stay safe out there. Quests aren't quite there, but we're getting there. We'll get it. We'll get it. We'll get it. We're on our way. On the draw. Believe it or not, being on the draw or being on the play is an important part of deciding how to keep your hand. Now this I think would be good on the play or the draw, but there are a lot of hands, and hopefully we'll see them as we play the decks and play the videos, where it really matters if you're on the play or on the draw. And we can talk more about that, I guess, when we see one. It's hard to describe. But that's a good reason to stay tuned to the channel. Diregraph Ghoul. Looks like we get the Zombo treatment. Not sure how this hand's going to do. I'm sure that a Lord is going to wreck us, but if we're going to throw off the Lord, I guess what we should do is play the Aetherborn. Yeah, the whole Siphoner thing, when we're on the draw against this draw, the whole Glint-Sleeve Siphoner thing isn't a very good call. Yeah, our opponent's not slowing down. So we could take the damage. I think I've got to trade my Aetherborn, because the thing is, Our opponent's very likely to play Fatal Pushes, things like that. They'll probably kill it later. And then we wouldn't gain any life from it. We wouldn't stop any damage from it. Yeah, I've got to do this. Saving it and hoping that after I get rid of this Baron, it can block the zombies, I think is a loser's game. But our opponent's on the God draw. Whether or not we can come back, don't know. Depends on if they have more lords. Depends on how they follow this up. That's the perfect 1, 2, 3, though. That's the perfect 4. Yeah, we're in a lot of trouble.
I call, and the dead answer. I value moral flexibility.
All right. So for this turn, I gotta play the Harvester so we can start gaining some life back. Hope the opponent has no way to deal with it. Play this, say go. We'll probably go to 2 when all's said and done, and then we hope and pray. But it's one of those things. We were on the draw. No chance. And if our opponent has a Liliana's Mastery, it's the perfect 5. I don't see one here. We do see the Fatal Push. Okay. Alright. So we're still alive. And we got a Regal Caracal. So now we'll play our Walking Ballista. We definitely go with the Ballista because, like I've shown before, it can do things like kill opposing creatures. And we're going to attack the Liliana because we have to work on getting it off the field, or at least keeping it from doing the ultimate, which is bring a bunch of zombies out of the graveyard. We can't really beat that, and we'll use the lifelink.
That was a cheap shot.
So we're back up to 5. We have the Ballista, which can take out the Wanderer, which is the plan here. Let's see what our opponent does with Lily. Yep, it's going to get rid of Lily to play zombie cards from the graveyard. They have 6 mana, so they can play 2 freaking lords, which is going to be rough.
My power.
Yep, so they can cast this lord. We have to respond to the lord being cast by removing a counter from our Ballista to kill the Dread Wanderer, or else we will die. Yep, they got a 3/3. Yep, they got a 4/4. And we're going to go to 1. And my turn. We need a land. We got it. No question, this is the play. And we pass the turn. Because now our Harvester needs to block. We need all the lifelink to block that we can get. Our opponent can activate Lord of the Curse for Menace, which means we have to double block what he attacks with. But that's fine. Never... rough crowd, man, rough crowd, but we still got it. We're still not dead. And now they've played out their hand, so we know what's coming. They really, I don't think they have good attacks, as crazy as it is. If they attack with a Lord, they'll lose one. And that's kind of a big deal. Yeah, you make a zombie. That's fine. That's a thing. In the long term, I don't know if I can keep up. We're going to need some... Yeah. My turn. That's not a removal spell, is it? We really needed something like that. Alright. Well, we'll play the Knight. We'll play Kambal. Wish we had it out last turn. And we'll pass the turn. What you got? Another Regal Caracal would have been really awesome. We run 4 for God's sake. Opponent's trying to choose what to pick on with the Deadlands. Doing the math. We have 5 lifelink power, so if the opponent just crashes in, they have to pretend that we're at 6 life. Which means their attacks, even if they grant menace to all their creatures with the zombie ability, don't get all the way through. They didn't use the Deadlands. Oh my. Okay. So we want to block here, here, sack, kill that on first strike damage, so it shrinks all the other zombies, which takes them to 3. Then if we can take out the Lord of the Accursed, then the other zombies fall at 2. So we want to block a Kambal, like on one of these. What do we want to crew with? I guess a cat. Although we need that lifelink. We'll crew on a Kambal. We'll double block with cats. Alright. Let's do this. You here. You here. You here. You both here. Alright. 5 blockers. Okay. So before damage, remove a counter. Put a 1 damage on this Lord of the Accursed. Our Knight of Malice has first strike. That means they're going to kill this Lord of the Accursed, and the other zombies are going to shrink in size right now before the rest of the damage. Now, for the rest of the damage, the Aethersphere Harvester, we're going to give that lifelink. It's going to kill the Lord of the Accursed, and then these 2 cats are going to trade with the ghoul. And we're going to go to 6, and our opponent's down to just a ghoul. I think their attack was very aggressive. Maybe they accidentally hit the all attack button. And they were trying to set up, I think, to use the Deadlands on the Harvester, but the Harvester is still too big because of the way that we played that combat. So combat on board states is complicated. Very crucial part of Magic. Something that honestly takes a lot of practice to get used to. And you just have to especially learn how first strike works, how damage stacking works, and that is huge. When I say damage stacking, that's not what it's called anymore. Just to be... that was a silly thing to say. Could attack for 3 here. I think I'll just attack for this. Right? Yeah, this is fine. Let's keep the Harvester back in case the opponent draws a removal spell. Oh man. We turned it around! Oh, wow. Wow. We turned it around. And those zombies. That attack was... I don't know what our opponent didn't see, but they definitely missed something important on that attack. Alright, well, we didn't get to do much attacking in that game because we were on the defense the whole time. So I guess we do need one more. Come on, 7. We need to attack with 7 creatures. We need 7 attacks. Can I keep that? We're on the play. This is one of those hands. I hate 2-land hands on the play. I hate them. But we do have the Duress and the Fatal Push, but this would be much better on the draw. When you're on the play, you want to get your attack going as quickly as you can. This hand doesn't really do that, so I'm going to mulligan it. It also only had 1 color. Okay, so we got 2 colors, and we've got some attackers. This hand is better. We're going to keep, and we're going to get to scry and pick our top card. And yes, that is excellent, because we can make white mana with our Aether Hub and our Forsaken Sanctuary. It's a very good play. So we're going to lead on the tapped Forsaken Sanctuary. See what our opponent does here. Okay, white mana. If it had been red mana, I would suspect whatever I played to die, to shock, magma spray, lightning strike, all those things, and I would have played the Scrounger. But since it's white mana, white and green mana, and white, green, and blue, those are the 3 colors that I'm like, okay, I don't think my thing is going to die, so I'm going to make an energy with my hub and play a Siphoner to make another energy to start the card draw train that we haven't really seen this game. When Siphoner works, it works, but quite often it just dies, especially when the format has a lot of red. Strategic planning. Our opponent's going to look at their top 3, pick a card, keep it, and put the other 2 into the graveyard. Considering that they have an Ivnu Rivulet, a Strategic Planning, a Sunscourge Champion, which they can internalize from the graveyard, and an Angel of Invention, I'm going to guess that they are on a God-Pharaoh's Gift deck. and I think it's a safe guess. And we are on a Scrapheap Scrounger deck. Well, I don't know if we'll win this game. God-Pharaoh's Gift is notoriously good against aggressive strategies that don't have ways to interact with their God-Pharaoh's Gift. All we really have is Thopter Arrest, which we need to draw. But we can make a goal of completing our quest of attacking with all those creatures. Champion Wits is here. So I don't plan to stop attacking. If I die, it will be attacking. Okay, they discard a negate. That's a little tech. So, yeah, let's keep it coming. Our opponent will likely block the Scrounger. And let's play the Warleader. See if the opponent can deal with that. They don't have a God-Pharaoh's Gift in their graveyard. Their plan is to cast Refurbish, which gets a God-Pharaoh's Gift out of the graveyard for 4 mana. They don't have that yet. They're going to Eternalize Sunscourge Champion, make a 4/4, gain 4 life. They had to discard a card to do it. They discarded a land. Let's cast you down. Down with you. No blocking today. All attack. Oh yes. And there's an argument that our opponent might be about to cast Fumigate, and if they did, it would make a lot of sense to not cast anything else. And we could get back Scrapheap Scrounger if they do Fumigate. It also helps with our quest. What we have is borderline lethal on its own, if anything died. But it's what I'm talking about is playing around Fumigate and only Fumigate. Nothing else would do this. Nothing else would make this good. So I'm just going to play another Scrapheap Scrounger. If they have it, oopsie daisy. Had the read, messed it up. Oh well. I still think, regardless of what just happened, what you just saw, I think I get myself in more trouble playing around cards in Arena that aren't there than playing around the cards that are there. And I'm trying to work on that, and it means sometimes I have to feel bad. I feel bad right now, but I'll get over it. All right, the Angel of Invention, sure. Make some dorks, sure. Gonna need a good draw. Bring back a Scrounger. Take that action, let's draw those cards. Need a good one. Sorta. Sorta. We can't kill the Angel of Invention because it costs 5. So, nothing we can do about that. Our opponent can double block the Siphoner here, which is annoying. But yeah. So if our opponent has a God-Pharaoh's Gift, we're going to lose to it anyway. Let's just get it out of the way. Take out both his guys. Hope he doesn't have it. Like, I don't like playing the game this way, but hey. It's that quest, right? We're still getting our attacks in. As long as we get our attacks in. By the way, this is a full-blown, like, I think this has been second at multiple GPs and Pro Tours. It was top 4 of the latest Pro Tour. So don't feel too bad. We're going up against a full-blown Pro Tour deck with basically a 2-week-old collection and an awkward black-white mid-range deck. So if we give them a run for their money, we should be very proud of ourselves. Still no God-Pharaoh's Gift down here, by the way. Our opponent's going. I mean, they're looking. They're doing everything they can to find it. It might be the last card in their hand. They just put a Refurbish in their graveyard. I'm gonna guess their plan is to cast a God-Pharaoh's Gift next turn. Man, would a removal spell there have been nice. All right, keep them coming. I'm going to hold this card in my hand to at least bluff that I have some kind of trick or effect for my opponent, which might affect their play. You should do it only when you don't have a conceivable use for the land in the coming turns, and I can't think of something that would happen that way. I think our opponent's hand is Refurbish. But I've said this before, I can't make too many guesses about that. And now they're passing turn, which makes me think it could be Settle the Wreckage. Again, don't play around too much stuff. Just go for broke. Especially when you're at the disadvantage. You don't have that much to lose. Okay, cast out. The God-Pharaoh's gift lists from the Pro Tours don't often run Settle the Wreckage. If this is full-on net deck, that's kind of what I was expecting, that they wouldn't have Settle. And the good news about that, of course, is they have cast out instead, which means that we get them to 1. Now, can we finish the job? Did they find a gift? They still have not found a gift, and they're done! Proud of ourselves. Scraps. Good old Scraps coming through. And that aggressive attack with the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner that traded for the Angel and the token turned out to really matter. And there's your payday, boys and girls, ladies and gents. Oh my god. 13,800. We started the week at, I think it was 565. So, and we definitely didn't win all our games, as you saw yesterday. We didn't have an unbelievable run. We had a few break-even quick constructeds and a really good quick constructed the day that the audio went out. But we're gonna finish the week up about a little over 8,000 gold. So let's put it to work. It's crafting time. Let's open some packs. I explained in my last video why I picked Dominant, in my last crafting video from last Friday, why I picked Dominaria. That has not changed, and I'm still doing it. So we're going to go down to 5,000 gold, or, this is close enough. And we're going to crack these packs. It's not just about what we open in the packs. In fact, it's 80% not about what we open in the packs. If we get lucky, like that, and open some wild cards and some good mythics and some good rares, awesome. Mostly what we're doing is filling this up. Getting more wild cards so we can craft more decks. We're also doing the music remix. You can hear it when you open a pack. It really sets things off. So that's a mythic. It's a wizard tribal mythic. It's okay. Maybe someday we'll play wizards. I wouldn't focus on that at this stage as you're building up your collection. A Steel Leaf Champion. That is a winner's rare right there. If we're going to build up our green deck, that's going to be a key part of it. And not having to craft some of them, that is good. Here comes another rare wild card over here. Bazinga. Nothing really there, and that's not very good. It's interesting, you can build around it, but it's not powerful on its own. Wizard's Retort, uncommon, little red dude, Traxos, if you want to build Ultra Mega Traxos. Feel that remix. Nothing really there in those spots, but we get a Kambal Stronghold. Maybe there's a mono black deck someday in our future. And there is a mythic. Nice! So we up our mythic count. There is a Gilded Lotus. That's okay. There's some combo decks you can do with that maybe someday. And our final pack for the day will reveal the Rite of Belzenlok. Okay, so let's have a look. We have 3 rares and 1 mythic rare, along with plenty of commons and uncommons. We didn't even use all of our commons and uncommons last week, so things are going well in that regard. What are we going to craft? Well, it's a good question. Last week we worked on our red-black upgraded deck, and I don't think we need to craft more cards for it. There is a world where someday we want Soulscar Mage, but I don't find that to be a super important card in the deck. It adds some win percentage against green, but so does Unlicensed Disintegration, so I don't feel a need to craft the Soulscar Mage right now. What I want to do is open up some more of the format. I'm a control mage. This might be where you and I differ in our crafting preferences. I'm a control mage. I really, really, really want to be able to play control. But I can't really play control without a very specific card that handles all the threats we want to handle. Without it, there's just not a lot you can do in control decks right now. And that card is Vraska's Contempt. I talked about it so much yesterday that if I'm going to spend a rare wild card in the game, if I have any inkling to do control, that's what I would do. If you have no inkling to do control, probably best to go get some more Steel Leaf Champions for your green deck. In fact, I'm thinking about doing that instead anyway, but no, I like Vraska's Contempt too much. Hopefully by next week we can earn 3 or 4 rare wild cards and work on the green deck. But yeah, that's what I really want to do, is I want to go get Vraska's Contempt. I mean, I got to be true to my heart, right, you guys? So let's go to Not Collected Rare in black at instant. And we see, there it is. There's only so many good rare instants in black. Well, I'm going to cash my 3 rare wild cards for Vraska's Contempt, and I don't think you'll regret it. So lock that in. We can take out some of these other cards that were filling spots, like Essence Extraction and Murder. Aether Meltdown maybe is a card that we take out in that situation. Yeah, I think we can go to 1. It doesn't play with Gearhulk because it's not an instant. Now, you might also say, well, you have a Mythic wild card now. Are you going to buy the Scarab God? Scarab God's a really good card for your blue-black lists. I don't know if it's absolutely necessary, though. Still, to stay on theme, and because I do want to be competitive with this deck, and I'd like to play it some for you next week, and because I know some of you out there are control mages or want to be control mages, I think I should spend some wild cards on a good control deck to show you that side of the game. Because while some people are going to hate on blue mages no matter what they do because they just don't like that counter magic is a part of the game, and that powerful finishers like the Scarab God that are hard to kill are part of the game. They are and always will be part of the game. What I'll say to those of you who hate control, don't play against it. Just concede and leave if you're in a game against control. Nobody's making you play against it. You don't have to sit there and go through that, unless you like being angry. Some of you weirdos out there really like being angry. Come on. Sound off in comments if you're a weirdo who likes being angry. All right, but I am going to craft the Scarab God, and I'm going to tech out this blue-black control deck, make it a bit better for next week, and then hopefully I'll get to show you how much fun control can be, as it got rolled pretty hard this week. Some of you may have enjoyed that. Again, you sickos. But that's okay. That's okay. I strive to show a little bit of everything. As far as what to take out for a Scarab God, maybe I'll work on it a little bit more in the near future. For today, I'm going to take out that other Aether Meltdown. No. Oh, it's close. I am going to take out that other Aether Meltdown. There. Did it. It's over. It's done. We'll move Scarab God into the Keystone spot. And yeah. We're going to call it a day for this episode of the Arena. Let me grab that deck list so I can put it into comments. We'll work on upgrading some decks next week, and we'll get some more quests, and we'll continue to build up our collection. You got to be impressed, right? We've got, this is the end of our second week. We've opened a lot of packs. I think about 20 packs. We've had some really good ICRs. We've gotten to 7 wins and a few quick constructed events, and we've built what I would consider a getting towards top tier red-black deck, with probably the only major improvements to be a couple rare wild cards for Soulscar Mage and the lands, and we're starting to work on a serious control deck. So all in 2 weeks of completely free play. It's awesome. If you want to watch the whole series, you can watch it from the beginning. I've got a playlist on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.